I just finished doing a couple of laps of the show floor at CES Unveiled, and I can't wait to tell you about it. Now, you can think of CES Unveiled as a little bit of a smaller version of the show. These are smaller companies that maybe are still new to the market, or maybe they can't bring a lot of staff, or are otherwise just not in a position for one of the big elaborate booths at the main show. But I'm okay with that because this is how you find some of those hidden gems among those companies that are maybe still in the early stages. Now, obviously there were all kinds of companies there, but I focused on the AI companies to bring you that information. So in this video, I'm going to be highlighting some of the companies that I'm excited about and maybe some that I'm not so excited about. So we'll see how that goes. Now, the first company that I found interesting is the Cueva dog collar. This is a dog collar that you can put on your dog in order to get some diagnostic information. Based on that diagnostic information, and then based on their proprietary algorithms, it can tell you a little bit about the health of your dog. It can also try to help you take some preventative measures for problems that the sensor might detect are coming up for your dog. So as a dog owner, I'd love to have more information about my dog, and this device may very well be it. I spoke with the CTO about some of the technology behind it, and the primary collection method is a 9-axis sensor that detects the movements of the dog, both in space and the way it handles its own body. And then based on those movements, on that data and the algorithms, it feeds it to an app that tells you the end result or the conclusions of what's happening with your dog, along with the analytics behind it. So I think the data displayed in the app is pretty nice. I think it's going to be beneficial to dog owners and in turn into the dogs themselves and how they're maintained with their health. So I'm interested in this company, seeing where they're going to end up. It seems like they have some pretty decent technology behind their efforts. So, and I also like the form factor of the sensor itself. So I'm excited to see where they're going to end up. Now, I also tried the products by a company named Neural Labs. Now, this company caught my eye because they are doing hand gestures, as you can see from the video. Now, what's unique to them is that in the video, and really in everything they do not own the screen or the monitor hardware. They do not own the camera. They are strictly on the software side. They claim to be able to work with any camera and any display that you might have. They simply handle the machine learning to handle the gestures. Now, I think that's a really interesting approach, makes them a little bit more of a lightweight implementation. I think it's going to be the right model if they can find the right partners for that, for integration into smart TVs or things like that, right? Now, the scientist in me also knows that you're not really testing a product if you use it as they intend it, right? So you can see in the video that I'm doing some non-standard gestures or non-standard ways. For example, you can see me turning my hand so that I'm showing the camera or the algorithm the back of my hand instead of the front of my hand. I think the company still has a little bit of work to do there in terms of how it handles those types of variations. I wasn't really happy with the results that I saw. But I think that they're on the right track if they can resolve some of those machine learning issues over the long term. There's some room for improvement, but the fundamental technology does still seem to be pretty good. Now, the next company I met with is a French company named Netry. Now, they gave me a very elaborate explanation, but I understood it to be a hardware-based neural network. And the reason you'd want that is because this tool allows you to take a particular liquid or a particular medicine and make a determination on if it's going to have a negative effect on humans. Maybe it would cause nausea or a rash or some sort of other malady that would be unwanted from a new medicine or some sort of a new liquid. So it's a way to test products with hardware that can give you an idea of the effects that it'll have on humans. For example, if you're a large pharmaceutical company and you're working on a new drug, you can use this equipment to test whether your drug is going to have some undesired effect on your patients. Now, they are doing this via a combination of their proprietary hardware and a clustering algorithm that they showed me and I thought was very interesting. So I'll be keeping an eye on this company, but because I think that they are doing some inherently interesting things using data science. The last company that I found interesting is known as GenGen AI, based in South Korea. In effect, they are using generative AI to create training data for any number of uses, including self-driving vehicles. They also create synthetic data for military applications such as maps and other images that are required. The accuracy numbers that they claim in their testing are quite amazing, maybe just too hard to believe. Taking them at face value, they seem like an interesting company, but we'll see what the future holds for them. Now, not every company at CES Unveiled has everything together. One company has a car bumper with sensors built in to detect when other cars are coming and would adjust the lights accordingly. They're claiming to use AI in this, but I don't see any need for any level of AI. You can likely do that with sensors and some logic and some basic programming logic. It's just not an AI level type of problem. The sensors are also built directly into the bumper, which means that every single car manufacturer, and for all of their models, would need to have some sort of integration path in order for this system to have wide adoption. Obviously, there are also many software co-pilots available right now, but I'm not sure that all of them are on the right track. I was intrigued by one demo at Unveiled, but I noticed that the interface was in a web browser, which is very unique for a code generation tool. When I asked if they intended to always stay within a web browser, I was assured that their next target platform was to be on a mobile app. I'm predicting a lot of problems in that integration. How do you create self-running code that can run on any number of platforms, any number of languages from a mobile phone? That quite didn't sound right, so I'm a little pessimistic on both the current and the future state of this particular Copilot. Finally, I came across a company offering network-attached storage that also has a built-in LLM. I'm still failing to understand how an LLM can help in that scenario. They didn't offer a working demo at the show. How would you even talk to a NAS with an LLM? Like literally, what does that interface look like? Those devices aren't really associated with fancy interfaces. Do you even need an LLM? And if so, where would that fit into the interface plans? It just doesn't make sense to me. So what do you think? Am I being too pessimistic about these companies? Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you next time.